Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today for another movie and Blu-ray review. Today I'm going to be talking about the 1990 release, Tales from the Darkside, the movie. This is a Scream Factory Blu-ray, and it's a very well-done Blu-ray, but I'd like to talk just a little bit about the film first. So this is an anthology horror film with some elements of drama, fantasy, and things like that, and anyone who's ever watched this channel knows that I kind of have a soft spot for anthology TV shows and films. So I had seen this one years ago, was interested to revisit it when I picked up this Blu-ray release. And I have to say, my opinion on this movie stayed the same in some instances and changed in a few others. So first of all, there are 4 stories here. There's 3 main stories, and then there's a wraparound story. I have to say the wraparound story with Deborah Harry is probably the weakest of the 4. It feels a little off tonally from the rest of the stories, and even though the acting is solid, I just thought it was okay. But it does tie in well to what are the highlights of this film, which are the other 3 stories. So I'll go through each one briefly. The first one's called Lot 249, and it has a great cast. It has Christian Slater, Julianne Moore, and Steve Buscemi at various stages of their career at this point. And the acting's really solid. It is the most standard of the 3 stories. It feels just kind of like a standard monster revenge story, but it's a solid way to start things off. Not my favorite of the stories, but pretty good. Next up is the one I kind of changed my opinion on. The second story is called Cat from Hell. And I have to say, I never really liked this one when I watched this years back, but I kind of liked it this time. I still don't think it's the strongest of the stories. I'll get to that one next. But this one, while maybe a bit too over the top and outlandish at times, might be the best directed of the 3. There's some really stylish directing choices, and William Hickey, in my opinion, was always an interesting actor to watch. The third story, and the best one, in my opinion, is called Lover's Vow, starring James Remar and Ray Dawn Chong. This one's kind of more like, has a gothic feel to it, and it's kind of a romance horror story. I know it's based on, there's been some other versions of this story done. I won't spoil it for those who haven't seen it, but I thought the acting and direction was great, and this is the one that stayed with me the most. It's interesting to note, after watching the documentary on the film, which I'll get to here in a minute, that originally Lover's Vow was going to be the first story, but after some audience screenings and audience seeming to respond the most to that one, they changed it and made it the last story, which I agree with. I do feel as it is the strongest and most memorable, and it's the one I always remembered, even from years ago. So do I recommend this film? Yes, absolutely. I think all the stories are at least pretty good, and the last one, Lover's Vow, is very, very good. It's very strong. So if you like anthology films or just late 80s, early 90s horror films, they were doing a lot of interesting stuff at that time, in my opinion. I definitely recommend this film. As for the Blu-ray release, it's from Scream Factory, who does a very solid job most of the time with their Blu-ray releases. There's a few exceptions, maybe I'll get to at some point, but this one's really great. It has your standard kinds of things, photo galleries, audio commentary. What's really great about this is a documentary, but it's kind of hidden. If you look at the back, it just says there's new interviews. What this really is a full documentary. It's pretty lengthy, and it individually breaks down all the different 4 stories and how they were filmed, and just some stories about the legacy of the film, everything like that. I highly recommend it. Even though it's a little lengthier than some of these types of documentaries, I thought this one worked really, really well and was very informative. Also, and everyone that watches my videos knows I love this, we have reversible artwork. We have the new artwork, which I generally prefer the new artworks, honestly, to these films. But I have to say, in this case, let me flip it around here. Give me a second, sorry. I still love the classic artwork as well, which always kind of creeped me when I was younger. So I'm not sure which way to keep this, but I'll decide later. But anyway, I definitely recommend this Blu-ray release from Scream Factory if you're a fan of Tales from the Darkside, the movie, which I am definitely a fan at this point. So as always, thank you very much for watching. More videos coming soon. Thank you.